Okay.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mitch the Ripper, and this is Star Puke, the next regurgitation, in which we discuss the latest STD, that being Star Trek Discovery.
And
With me
also,
tonight, apparently Batman can't wait for the intro, so with me tonight I have the Batman. Say hello, Batman.
hello, Batman.
That's stupid. I expect better from you. You're Batman, for Christ's sake.
It's me
We
night off.
also have the Pagan Butterfly.
Who can't say hello at the moment.
Okay, we have a
She's
Pagan.
dying.
Well, they always said if a butterfly had the teeth of a tiger, it would never leave the runway.
It would have a fucking big mouth.
And we also have with us a Mad Woman Muses.
Hey, hey, hey.
Still doing the Dwayne thing from What's Happening.
Yes, I am.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 70s. Anyway,
I
We're-
take that 70s.
you would. I don't mean the porn in your mustache either. But, we're here to talk about this latest incarnation of Star Trek. Star Trek.
yeah.
This latest generic science fiction franchise with a name brand splattered upon it called Star Trek. I can't say it now. Goddamn. Star Trek Discovery. Okay. What I want to know first, there's obvious stuff that everyone wants to talk about. We'll save the good stuff to the end, sort of. But what I want to know first, and we'll start with eeny, meeny, miny, fuck it. Let's go with Batman, since he's the only one. Okay, now she's not muted. Okay, we're going with Batman. Deal with it.
Okay, what do you want to know first?
What do you think about the uniforms?
Then the derivative of the seem to be derivative of the JJ verse and Star Trek Enterprise. They're not very well designed.
But do you think they're well? Do you think? Go on.
It's supposed to be pre-original series, but the uniforms look like they're too advanced as well as being badly designed. Plus,
What about you?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, please. Pray
I
continue.
was going to say it's billed as being in the mainstream universe, but pre-Next Generation, every Starship crew had a separate flash identification for which ship they were on. But
Well, actually, that was pre Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah, well,
That
you know
actually-
what I mean.
Yeah, from Star Trek: The Motion Picture forward, the entire Starfleet went with the Enterprise logo.
Yeah, but in Discovery, they're all wearing the Enterprise identification flash, which is clearly proven that it's not canon.
Well, yeah, at least it shows that the people behind the scenes give less than two shits about the canon.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm calling it, Cash Trek.
The search for more money.
Yep.
Yeah.
What about you, Mad Woman? What's your take on the uniforms?
I kind of like the classic uniforms because with the classic uniforms, it set the established norm as to who was what according to the color of the uniform.
Until the
And
next
then when they
generation.
started changing the crap for the next generation and flipping everything around, it was like, okay, because gold in the classic used to be the leadership position. In the next generation, it went to tactical. Red was command in the next generation. It was tactical in the classic.
Yep.
So they changed up the uniformity of the color scheme and the color order, and I kind of didn't like that because it was like they were trying to, separate themselves from something that would have definitively linked it to the Federation of the classic franchise.
Oh yeah, can I nerd on you here a bit, Mad Woman?
Mhm.
Gold was command. Yeah, you're right. But command included tactical. The red was operations and engineering.
Yep.
Okay.
And unfortunately, security, for some strange reason.
What about you, Butterfly? What's your take on it?
I think she's still having sound problems because she's
No.
that people can't hear her.
God damn it!
Don't worry, she's a techie. She can find it out.
Okay, good. Butterfly, when you're able to scream your head off, do so. What about set design? Well, I should get to my take on the uniforms.
Yes,
There are some elements of the uniforms. What the was that? Zeus or you?
Yes, I think Zeus was agreeing with you.
Okay.
Can I be heard?
Oh yes, finally.
Thank you.
Excellent timing. Butterfly, what is your take? What is your take on the uniforms that, as far as from what we've seen on Star Trek Discovery?
Oh, sorry. Well, I did like the ones from the gosh darn it. I did like the ones from the Enterprise, Next Generation. Some where they have the president on the ship. Creative. I can't remember her name now. She was the tomboyish, go for it, hoorah girl. Oh, God. I can't think of her name.
Tasha?
Tasha Yar?
She ended up marrying one of the commanders.
I'm beginning to wonder if we're talking about the same franchise.
She had short hair.
Yeah, it was Tasha Yar.
Are you thinking of Battlestar Galactica? Because you said president.
Yes, that was it. You're right. I had the wrong one. Hey, it happens. I'm sorry.
Oh, fantastic. You just created so much nerd rage out in the world.
Yes. Somewhere is watching this.
That was the real life version of the meme with Patrick Stewart and the quote, "Use the Force, Harry," Gandalf.
Yes. So sorry.
Oh no, that's fantastic. That is incredible. I love it.
That's
but
like
getting back to a Star Trek Discovery. I'm sorry. What is your take on those uniforms?
Well, I mean, they could have done better as far as changing the colors back. So, I don't have much of an opinion on it.
I have another opinion on them.
I kind of think that I kind of like the metallic element. I think that's an interesting way to distinguish between divisions. But the placement of it and the design of it, I think, is just absolute garbage.
Yeah.
I've got another take on the uniforms as well.
Hit me.
I prefer the ones from the Orville.
Well, yeah, there is that, because let's be honest. The Orville is the Star Trek series that CBS and Paramount didn't care that the fans wanted.
Yeah.
And it was because of that when they branched off and they needed to do the licensing, that they had to have completely different looking uniforms for the Kelvin timeline than they did for the original timeline, like the Next Generation and so forth. I personally didn't mind the chevrons on the suit. It kind of looked really nice. And the whole, they kept the colors the main part of the uniform, as opposed to Discovery just putting it on the strips on the side.
Yeah.
Right. And, that works too. I mean, the Orville, I don't like the fact that the Orville had to go with like a light green and an orange. But, so what? I'm not watching any of these shows just for the fashion statements. Although that does seem to be what the people behind the shows seem to be interested in. But Batman, what about the set design?
I'm not sure. Some of the set design looks like it's well designed, but it doesn't look like it fits anywhere in the the setting which they're trying to say it is.
No, it doesn't.
I mean, at least Enterprise, they tried to make it look primitive compared to the original series.
Yeah, in Enterprise, they at least had like manual switches.
Yeah, and the bridge was crowded and felt claustrophobic compared to even Kirk's bridge.
Yes.
It had a much more primitive feel. Almost like being on a submarine, whereas the Orville, Star Trek Discovery, it looks like a generic science fiction bridge.
What about you, Butterfly?
Mm. Caught me in the middle of eating. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
We did it on purpose.
I could go somewhere really weird there, but
Hold on. I can't. I keep being interrupted too. Get out.
Okay. Let's jump to Mad Woman then, real quick.
Oh, yes.
Well, I mean, okay. You could tell from the classic Star Trek, the Enterprise did have a smaller looking command deck and everything, because as the sets progressed, you realized that the technology was progressing and they were making bigger and bigger ships, not just from the outside, but the whole configuration of the inside as well. I've seen shots of the inside of the Discovery and the outside. The inside looks darker and grittier. To me, you really can't get a feel as to how big the bridge of that ship is.
Yeah, the scenes we've seen, it looks like it's mostly in shadow.
Yeah.
It's you got to wonder, are they coming onto it for the first time?
Probably.
They don't have all the lights installed yet. They won't be installed till Tuesday, like in Star Trek Generations.
I'm sorry, but no, you make me think of the captain constantly brushing the packing foam off the chair.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on there? Are they going to be like? Is it going to be like a new Windows operating system where they have to wait for upgrades before it's functional?
I don't know.
Did you just really go there? Windows, really?
Yep.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
How do you think they defeated the Borg?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, the best way to defeat the Borg is the blue screen of death.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or to send them to an Apple iStore.
I mean, I can understand from an aesthetic point of view that the darker you make a set, the more intimate it may look. The only problem is I don't remember a Star Trek bridge ever being dark, gritty, and oppressive. To me, that's more indicative of the way they used to light and configure the bridges for the Klingon ships.
Yeah, and the Romulans,
yes.
but more the Klingons. But
setting the moods, right?
Also, a dark, gritty, oppressive-looking bridge isn't going to be conducive to an efficient working environment either.
No.
Right.
I mean, the bridge of the original Enterprise was actually they actually designed it in conjunction with a naval architect. Not where they placed it, obviously, but the bridge itself. That's why the captain's chair is central and it can swivel, and so why it was well lit.
I mean, it had a flow to it that no matter where he turned, he was looking at a different station on the bridge.
Yeah.
The bridge is darker by design, and they're going to try and continue this. It doesn't make it efficient because a lot of times you have to make eye contact with the person at the station in order to get your orders, told quickly and efficiently to the person at that station. And if it's dark in the ship, depending on where that person is standing, you're not going to be able to see them.
Yeah, the only time we've seen a dark bridge in the original series on the Enterprise was in the Mirror Mirror episode.
Yeah. I mean, in the one episode on the Next Generation where they had taken, what was it? Riker, or it was either Riker or Picard. The Ferengi had that mind control device.
Yeah.
The Stargazer.
Yeah. The Stargazer, where I think it was Riker that was on the other ship.
Yeah, but that was that's two different episodes. They used the same model as the Stargazer, a Constellation class starship.
Yeah.
For a War Games thing.
Ugly ass ship.
And I believe that ship was the Hathaway.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe you're right.
Hmm?
And Riker and a crew that he selected from the Enterprise crew basically got the ship up to snuff to do this war game.
Yeah.
And it was small, cramped, and even the engineering section was really cramped.
You could tell it was an older ship by the size.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They gave the internal and external clues as to the size of the ship.
Yeah.
Yep.
And speaking of the ships, we've all seen the Discovery, the ship model they're using.
Oh God!
And I have a theory about that.
I know the fact about it.
Well, it's a Ralph McQuarrie design from the 70s.
Yeah, it was.
I think if my theory is correct, this does not bode well for this new series.
No.
Because I suspect Because back then they had already paid for that work to be done. They paid for that work to be done in the 70s. I think they were trying to cut corners and not have someone design a brand new ship.
They've modified the design slightly, but that's the design that they were going to use for Star Trek Phase 2 when it was initially going to be a TV series. As soon as the production staff saw it, no, that looks fucking horrible, throw it away.
Yeah.
Quite literally.
But Paramount at the time, under Desilu, and later Viacom owned the rights, so they kept everything, and plus it turned up in books and everything. Basically, it's something they paid for, 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So hey, why spend the money when we already have this ship design?
Oh, the vault of the sources section since the initial release. Now it's like.
Well, yeah, now it's more J.J. Abrams, like everything else on the show,
because it's got the bits missing from the middle of the saucer.
Yeah,
fucking stupid.
Yeah, it really is.
The show was going to have problems when the writer that wanted to stick to canon left the show because they didn't want to stick to canon.
Well, the show's going to have problems anyway because no fucker's going to be watching it.
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, yeah, that's the other thing. Is the scheme to get people to view it is just incredibly stupid. They're going to show the first episode for free and then use the rest to launch CBS All Access.
Well, they're already using the Ghostbusters method of garnering support by saying anybody who doesn't like this is a sexist, misogynistic bigot.
Yep.
Yeah, and we haven't even touched on that.
Yeah. Oh,
we're talking the technical side of things, the visuals, the aesthetics.
So they're launching the pilot for free, but the rest you're going to have to pay for through CBS.
Yeah.
In America, anyway. Everywhere else, it'll be available through other
stupid
outlets.
Talking about canon, they hired a bunch of, really, really anally retentive Star Trek fans as advisors. And they told these people that they're there to keep things in canon. That's not true. What they're there for is to make sure that none of the stories they use coincided in any way with anything that had been done in any previous Star Trek.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to have very many viewers that way.
I really don't. I think this is going to be a crash and burn.
Yep.
Yeah, the whole marketing plan for this is just wrong.
I mean, because if they're really just trying to save money on using that older ship design that was already paid for, where else are they cutting corners?
This is true. Storylines go too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not just storylines, but at some point we're going to see some bad visual effects.
Yeah.
Look at that first, sneak peek, I guess you'd call it. It wasn't really a trailer or anything when they showed the Discovery launching from that asteroid construction facility.
Mm-hmm.
That looked like garbage.
Mm-hmm.
That looked like that looked like a developer that was fired.
Well, you know what the asteroid looked like? It looked like they'd pretty much ripped off the scene from Enterprise, where they were
the Mirror Universe episodes. Where they found the Defiant.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even in the Star Trek, as I like to call it, the never-ending picture, Star Trek, the motion picture.
Oh my God.
Mainly because I was so young, I fell asleep and never saw the ending.
Star Trek, the slow-mo picture.
Yeah. I mean, if I remember that one vaguely, they had a star dock for it that orbited the Earth.
Yeah.
Right.
And in each of the subsequent movies, they had the same thing. So why is the Discovery launching from an asteroid?
The only reason that would be is if it's a secret project.
Yeah. No, it's because Starfleet are ashamed of it.
That could be. It's like, come on, Bill, you came up with this is the best you could do? What the fuck is What, did you have your cousin design it? What the hell is this?
Yeah.
Again.
We've got a deadline. We're going to send it off to the other side of Jupiter Station. We're going to put it in that asteroid field over there and build it, and we'll see what happens. God damn it. Where's the Tylenol? It's. I could see that conversation taking place at Starfleet headquarters.
Yeah.
Between
people getting around the water replicator. A bunch of admirals going, did you see what fucking Bill did?
Yeah.
Jesus
It's fucking
Christ.
horrible.
This is why we have
It even
civilian
made a Vulcan
contractors.
cry.
Yeah, you made a Vulcan cry.
That's
Oh
hard to
my
do.
God. It just the whole thing. Even before you get into all the politics behind it, the Klingons look like hell.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
They look like
It's
deformed Abrams Klingons.
Okay,
yeah, pretty much.
No, they've always looked ugly, but gosh.
Well, yeah, but
They
at least
didn't
in
the
a
original series.
at
This
least.
is a picture of the phaser in Discovery.
Oh yeah, that's just
That's
see if
old
I can-
school.
Yeah.
That's pretty much an old school phaser.
how the fuck do I get that to share?
It's even got the Type
How
1
the hell is it?
phaser on top of it, just like the original series. Because the Type 2 phaser, as you know, is a combination weapon.
Yeah, it really is. It's basically the Type 2 is the Type 1 with a power booster.
Yeah, that's it. It's basically an amplifier.
It's got
Yeah.
some amplifier module and everything, amplification module for the Type 1.
All right, here we go.
And
And here's
let me do this real quick.
here's the uniform.
That fifth voice you hear in the background, that is Ronan Wolf.
Yes.
Roaming Wolf.
No. What, like Wilf from Doctor Who?
Yeah. I mean, what I want to know is,
Interesting.
what the fuck is that alien there, the one with no nose?
I know.
That's the other thing. That's real quick, Mad Woman. How can I share what you're posting there?
In the Hangout, swipe all the way over to the left, and you're going to see a little green screen with an arrow. You click it. That's the screen share.
Okay.
And you are now screaming.
I have become the queen of the ghetto, live stream, so I can do that.
Yay!
I suck too much. I'm never going to get it. It'll just show everything that I'm seeing, and when I
This is
talk, it'll
probably
show
why
me
you're not
some
making
part of
enough
it.
money when you're out on the streets.
Anyway, that alien, I've heard the dialogue. They've evolved to sense death, or to sense impending death or oncoming death, and that sounds really stupid.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I could understand it if they could, if they've evolved to have like a different level of fight or flight response.
Yeah. Or even
but
some form
to
of
sense. We've evolved to sense death. Let's make one that can sense death, because when they can sense death, that means they know death is coming.
or even if they developed for some kind of situational awareness, which was acted like a kind of danger sense.
Yeah,
That would make
stuff like
sense.
that would make sense, but the terminology they're using is just it's just childish. It's infantile.
Yeah, they just basically walk into a fucking butcher shop and go, "I sense death all over."
Right? 'Cause sooner or
Yeah.
later people get-
I fear I shall soon be sausage.
Yep.
So here's a close-up of the black and gold uniform that
I
I think
think they look horrible.
Wait, is
They
that a
do.
class?
is really horrible.
That's another thing I'm tired of. I'm tired of them putting the Starfleet Delta in every nook and cranny of every detail of every uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's stupid. Hey, what is this, Star Trek basketball?
I mean, they could have picked another pattern to distinguish it from the official licensed uniforms.
Yep.
But I don't think they wanted it. It just looked to me like they didn't want to go through the trouble of doing that.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. A lot of it looks like they've taken shortcuts. And I'm the first guy who says, if you have leftover sets from a prior production, by all means use them,
Right.
because that will
When you-
help with keeping things canonical.
Yeah.
Canonical,
on that
Canonical.
subject, when you're talking about leftover stuff,
canonical.
Owen Allen did that in all of his productions to great effect. I mean, the time tunnel, the main complex, a lot of that stuff was taken from Forbidden Planet.
Yes.
He used a lot of stop movie footage for the time tunnel episodes, and to great effect.
Okay, so I did this.
Right. I'm also the first to say use it wisely.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just using it because it's there.
There it is. There's the ugly.
Yeah.
That is one ugly ass ship.
It's almost as if the people behind the Discovery said, I mean, because if you look, you see that Starfleet Delta on the uniforms as texture. and I almost wonder if, hey, this one looks kind of like the Starfleet,
Yeah,
the Starfleet symbol. Let me could use this for a spaceship.
I actually saw one person in a comment section on one of the trailers for this, for the Dead Horse, saying, "Oh look, Paramount's saying to itself, hey, Star Trek fans are so obsessed we can put any kind of shit out there with a Star Trek label on it and they'll lap it up."
Kind of. They're missing the point.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what Star Trek fans I think really want? They wanted stuff of the quality of Star Trek Axanar, Star Trek Continues, Star Trek New Voyages, stuff the fans were doing.
Yep. Hell, even Starship Farragut, which was, let's
By the way,
I mean, they've already screwed up the canon because they're trying to say that one of the main characters was adopted by Sarek and his wife.
Spock's adopted sister, and she's also transgender because her name is Michael.
Ugh.
Big deal. You get girls called Michael anyway.
What were you going to say there, Butterfly?
I was going to say, Wolfie says hello. So.
Oh, hello, Wolfie.
He says hello.
Enjoy your supper.
Give him a dog biscuit.
He actually just got up from a nap, a well-deserved one. So.
Was he in his basket? Was he?
I just can't see dating someone who needs to be fed from a bowl on the floor. But that's just me. I go my way. So
doesn't it creep you out a little bit, Pagan, when you get kissed by somebody who drinks out the toilet?
Well, I've known cats to drink out of the toilet too, so I don't know. Yeah. So.
Oh my God, we're straying.
Hey,
I know, that was a good kind of double entendre there, wasn't it?
Yep.
No, it just looks like they're missing the point entirely of what the fans want.
Yeah.
And we're not saying, even if you look at some of those fan productions, even though in some spots the acting is pretty bad, they're working on next to no budget.
Oh, Gerbil's come up with a brilliant one. In the chat, she says, if Star Trek was 60s, this looks 80s.
Yeah, kind of.
I've got to admit, she made me think it does kind of look like Galaxy Quest, only not done as nearly as well.
Oh yeah, that the only thing they're missing, I think, is probably the shoulder pads and the big hair. But give it a minute.
Yeah,
because it's been said online, it'll come true. But yeah, let's get into the politics part of it, because that's what it is. Because I think we could tolerate a different uniform, even though we already have an established uniform from 10 to 13 years prior to Kirk's era in that episode with Captain Pike.
Yep.
I think we could tolerate that. Be like, okay. We could tolerate an ugly ship. We can tolerate this horrendous design on the Klingons and their costuming. There better be a good backstory there, because yuck.
Oh yeah, the Klingons costuming. Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
You don't just look like deformed Kelvin timeline Klingons. They look gay.
It might be interesting if it turned out these were not Klingons. These were in fact the Herc, who invaded the Klingon homeworld.
We've
seen the Klingons fought off and developed faster-than-light technology from reverse engineering what the Herc left behind.
I think they've actually been shown in Deep Space Nine. I'm not sure.
I don't think they were. I know they were mentioned.
These look like the uniforms these Klingons wear look like something what Dr. Frankenfurter would go. These things.
If I start annoying you with this green hairs, just let me know, Mitch. But yeah, there's a Klingon, as ugly as that thing looks.
That is gross, yes.
Yeah.
And it's not even the makeup that bothers me. It's mostly the costuming.
What costume reminds me of? I can't remember the name of the race, but the episode where Kirk was stuck on a planet with nothing but primitive materials in order to make a weapon, while the alien was chasing him.
No, you're about the Gorn. Nothing like the Gorn.
The Gorn.
The Gorn.
And it looks nothing like a Gorn.
No, not really.
But I mean, the primitive feel to it is what I'm saying. The primitive feel, because
It actually, there's a thing I've seen in Hollywood, a trend that I've noticed. And yes, Fen, they do change over time,
but not like that.
but
Yeah.
This is this is around the time where the Klingons in space should be humanoid, looking like humans.
Yes.
But,
Well, they did say in when they covered that in Star Trek Enterprise, they did say that not all Klingons. Well, hashtag not all Klingons.
But the ones who remain unchanged got trained by the humanoid ones because it was the only place they could go. And to be perfectly honest, I think the original series Klingons were more badass than the ones in Next Generation and even Deep Space Nine. And that, I mean, yeah, they wouldn't use cloaking devices on their ships because they wanted to be seen. They knew that their presence intimidated.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, they think like, attacking from a cloaked ship would be cowardly.
Right.
But that guy, Discovery Klingon, if you can go back to the picture, Mad Woman. I mean, I'm being insulting here, but can you imagine what he would look like if he had a bad cold?
Kind of. Yeah. Fen, that wasn't Next Gen. That was Deep Space Nine. The episode was Trials and Tribulations.
That was brilliantly done. I mean, if I'd have written that why the original series Klingons were different for the Next Generation's Klingons, I would have said that the original Klingons, that's how they were originally, and something happened to turn them into the Ridgeheads. That would have made more sense to me.
Yeah. Here's the one from the Enterprise, which is whoops, can't do that
Which
one.
is forbidden.
Which is for see, Mad Woman's looking at porn in Europe.
Yep.
Not.
Hey, Mad Woman, stop.
Cross your fingers. Okay, I think that's an Enterprise Klingon.
That's an Enterprise Klingon after the damn it, what were they called?
The augment virus.
Yeah, after the augment virus. He was cured of the augment virus, and part of that
genetic modification
reduced his ridges.
Yeah.
One of the silly things they put in the Next Generation and in that story in Enterprise was Klingons do not feel fear. Oh, really? Then why are there still Klingons alive? Because somebody who does not feel fear takes stupid risks and ends up dying before they've got a chance to breed.
Well, see, that's where you got the that's where it's public relations. It's marketing right there. The Klingons feel fear, but being a warrior race, they're not going to go out and say, "Hey, we feel fear."
Well, one of the things
they're going to go out and say, "You're bigger than we are. Fuck you. I don't feel any fear. Come at me."
When they were talking to
the ridges are back.
Some of the augments, some of the Klingons who've been affected by the augment virus, they were saying they didn't know how to act because they felt fear, and fear was alien to them. They didn't know how to handle it.
Oh, see, that's
just stupid.
Oh, I think we have a phrase for that. What do we call that? Bad writing.
Yeah, that's bad writing by somebody who doesn't understand what fear does and why we have it.
And of course, Diz in the chat has to chime in, being Diz.
Yeah.
Just save yourselves the mind fuck and call it alternate reality. It works for Marvel.
We don't care.
The ones for Deep Space Nine look remarkably like the ones for the Next Generation. There's the next, and there is Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. now show Klingons from Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
All right.
Because for modified Klingons, I thought they were the best.
All right, looking at images.
I mean, look at that. That is.
Sorry.
That's more animalistic, more bestial, and even the way they acted. I mean, look at the teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's somebody you would be a lot more frightened of than a Next Generation Klingon because you don't know whether he's going to try and talk to you or eat you.
Yeah. Precisely. But I mean, it was through all these timelines you saw how they evolved, how they changed, how their physiology changed because of what happened to them through history. And then you get this, which looks like a devolved version of the Klingons.
And that may be the case. I mean, it depends on where their story goes.
I think they said it was 10 years before Enterprise.
Well, no, I mean, if that's
before the Next Generation,
if that's a group of Klingons from way back who were like in a sleeper ship or something, but that would put the Klingons' technological advancement way back too. I mean, it would mean the Klingons achieved the technology far earlier than suspected.
Apparently, these are supposed to be a religious sect of Klingons.
So what? Did religion makes your face change? Is that the new thing?
Apparently so.
I mean, if I can be facetious for a second, they look like, what are we going to get Klingons to look like? Well, let's have somebody run at a really thick sliding glass door and see what they look like, and that's what we're going to model the makeup after.
Yeah,
and then they called on Bill again. Bill, get the high-speed camera.
Why has he got 3 nostrils? That's what I want to know.
It does look like he has 3 nostrils.
Oh my God, it does. But if you put up that Klingon from Star Trek: The Motion Picture again, that's the one.
I mean,
That's the one.
as aliens go, that is well designed.
Do you know who that actor is?
Nope.
Who?
That's Mark Leonard, who played Sarek.
God.
Yes,
He also
Oh.
played the Romulan captain in
Balance of Terror.
And he also played General Urko in Planet of the Apes, the TV series,
Yes, he did.
because he was always trying to find astronauts. I remember that.
Something like that, yes. But talk about getting head. What the hell, Diz?
The third hole. The third hole is for other things.
Once he was giving head, she said, "Hey,
Klingon
on the hard side."
Klingons with 3 nostrils. What's the jewelry industry like on that planet?
I don't know. I mean, there they still look formidable.
Yeah.
They still look formidable
Right.
there. And they look formidable there. There, they look a little more human than Klingon, dare I say. And this, from the classic series, they hadn't. I mean, you have to give credit to the fact that makeup advancements were not what they are now. So they had to use uniforms and, like the brow shaping and stuff to make them look like a different race.
Oh yeah. One of the
But
things.
then again, it was back in the 60s.
One of the things Mitch brought up when we were talking in the coffee room, the original series Klingons were more nuanced and deeper than Next Generation ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it seems like from Next Generation forward, anytime something came up, we will fight!
Yeah, the original series Klingons seem to be far more intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were more cunning.
Yeah.
They weren't necessarily devious like the Romulans, but they were more cunning.
Yeah.
I have a theory as to why they did that in the Next Generation and then on, because they had to distinguish the mentality between the Klingons and the Romulans. Otherwise, you would have 2 very tactical races that saw things from a tactical point of view. The Klingons, they made a little more warlike, a little more Viking-ish, if you will, afford me that particular. And then they looked at the Romulans and they said, well, since the Romulans look like they resemble the Vulcans more than anything, let's have them battle-oriented, yes, but let's have them more logical in their tactical ways of thinking things through.
Yeah, they're more
And
devious.
that's how we're going to distinguish the 2 races. They don't have 2 warrior races running around acting like warriors, or 2 warrior races both acting the same type of tactical, just going at it in a different way.
Yeah, that's one thing I hated about Star Trek Enterprise was the Romulans. I mean, they were turning up in Federation space in cloaked ships with cloaking technology here, there, and everywhere, and it was clearly established. The Romulans only got cloaking technology around Kirk's time.
Well, yeah, in the episode Balance of Terror in the original series, that part of what the Romulans were doing were testing the new technology.
Yeah, and it was also stated in that episode that Romulan warp drive was significantly primitive compared to Federation warp drives.
Right, or at least their energy production, because
I think
Romulans,
that
between the warp drive the cloaking device and the plasma weapon the Romulans were using in that episode, they were pretty much used one or the other. They couldn't use a combination of them at one time.
Yeah.
Plus, to be clear, what happened in Enterprise when the Romulans turned up, that wasn't a cloaking device. That was a ship lined with holographic emitters. So it was a technology that would preclude or that would happen before
the first
actual
time
cloaking technology.
The first time the Romulans were encountered in Enterprise was when they found the minefield with cloaked mines and then got attacked by a cloaked ship, which was revealed to be a Romulan, even though it wasn't revealed to the characters.
Right. But it wasn't cloaked. If I remember right, it was
cloaked. You're on about the one that the Romulans were trying to use to destabilize relationships, where they were using the hologram to make it look like
they actually didn't. I didn't go into Star Trek Enterprise as heavily as I went into the rest because I saw what it was, and it really just lost my interest.
Yeah, one of the stupidest things they did was, there's no way he would have been allowed to take a dog on a fucking long voyage like that.
No. Captain's prerogative notwithstanding.
Yeah.
I understood why they did TNG the way they did, but to have entire families on board when you don't know what you're going to be encountering isn't exactly
Jesus Christ,
for lack of a better term.
Yeah, we're going into battle crew. Okay, we're mutineering because we don't want our families dead.
Right.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Even though the Enterprise D was sent basically to go wave the flag for the most part.
Yeah.
These people are arguing over the price of rice. Oh, send the Enterprise.
Well, there's another one when you go on about aesthetics.
That's a good use for the flagship.
Can you remember yesterday's Enterprise?
Yes.
The Ambassador class was far better looking than the Galaxy class.
Yes, it was. My big problem with the Galaxy class was the saucer. I didn't like the shape of it and the angle.
Yeah.
If it were done long ways, it might have been a little bit better, I think, but that's just me. It looked too blunt. But I watched the latest episode of Star Trek Continues.
Mm-hmm.
And even there, they got a little heavy-handed with the politics.
Yeah. It was still a good story, though.
Yes, it was still a good story. And it was done in a clever way, but still a bit heavy-handed.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I thought the way I thought they were going to go, because for anyone who hasn't seen it, I'll give you the brief rundown. They go to a planet that's getting exposed to radiation from its sun. It turns out there's another planet in the system that where refugees are trying to make their way to Planet One. And one of the effects of the radiation is that it messes with the cones in the eye so that you can't see color. So when they beam down, everything is essentially grayscale, like watching black and white TV.
Yep.
And when they beamed the first person back from that planet up to the Enterprise, it was a big shock, and it took a bit for that person to adapt. Yada yada yada.
Was well done, though. You've got to
yes, that was. I mean, that stuff right there. That's a beautiful concept, especially if you're going to do a good subtle commentary on race relations, because it turns out that when everyone could see again after the problem was fixed with the radiation, that some people on Planet One were in fact the people from Planet Two. So you had some people who were a red hue and some people who were like a green yellow hue, and there's going to be conflict there, and that would have been fine just like that. But they had to go and work in, and this is where it lost me a bit. Well, no, they had to work in the refugee angle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that got annoying to me pretty quick. It's like, okay, like, this is Star Trek. You're supposed to be more subtle than this. You're supposed to be better than this.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like they did the same thing in, what was it, Nemesis, the one where they found out that the aliens whose skin needed stretching were related to the people on the planet already.
Yeah.
Yes, that was actually Insurrection, by the way.
And they stole that for Star Trek Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got to address Fenrir of the Right. He reckons that the Klingons changed after Kirk. No, they changed in the in the original series motion pictures.
Yep. And, now, see, getting back to this, see, the fan films had been really good about doing the social commentary and being kind of subtle about it.
Yeah.
But lately, because I did it in another one where it was a little heavy-handed.
Lolani.
Actually, I don't remember.
Yeah, the one about the Orion slave girl.
I'd have to see it again, to be honest.
It's the one where she killed these Tellarites on the ship that she'd been sold to. And the basically said, "Oh, it was all right for her to kill them because she was like a slave."
Oh, yeah. It was that it's a commentary on like human trafficking,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I know we're past brought up all the ships.
Mariel Bell liked the Akira class ship. I've got to admit, so did I, but I didn't like it so much when it was turned upside down and used in Enterprise.
Yeah, exactly.
The amount, that's another one of Paramount thinking that the fans are stupid and getting pulled up on it time and time again.
They're trying to do a long-standing fandom, and it's not going to work.
No.
Well, no, that's what I'm getting at with the heavy-handedness thing. I don't mind social commentary at all. No. In fact, even if it's stuff that I don't agree with, it's good that the stuff gets into my head somehow so that I can think about it.
My second husband, because he had a lot of Star Trek paperback, and if you can find it, I recommend the read because it's not only funny, it does have kind of social commentary in it, but it's not heavy. The name of the book is How Much for Just the Planet.
I've heard of that. Never read it.
That was a Ferengi story, wasn't it?
No, it was not a Ferengi story. It was a Federation and Klingon story. Both of them were vying for the same planet because the planet had the lithium crystals they needed. And there was a lot of interplay going on between the Enterprise crew and the crew from the Klingon ship, including what I thought was the funniest part of the book, a golf tournament between Scotty and one of the Klingons.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
That would be entertaining, I'm sure.
Oh, it was a fun book to read. It was a definite fun book to read, and I would have loved it as a maybe 2-part episode because I think the fans would have gotten a kick out of it too.
But let's when you guys have looked at the promo stuff and a lot of the online conversations and stuff about Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
Do you think that Star Trek Discovery is going to be heavy-handed in the social commentary?
Yes. They're already pushing it through the trailers from what they have, the diversity of the crew.
Yeah, it seems like they were kind of advertising diversity as a selling point from the get-go.
Yeah, diversity.
I might be misremembering that though too, because I have read a lot of the commentary and whatnot. What do you think, Butterfly? Do you think they're going to be heavy-handed in it?
More than likely.
Batman?
Oh, sorry, I was talking. I was listening. But what was the question?
Do you think that Star Trek Discovery is going to be too heavy-handed with the social commentary?
Ridiculously so.
Now, okay, let's pose this question. How do you suppose they're going to pull that off when it's supposed to take place about 200 years in the future?
Probably by, like for one thing, they've already stated that the main character is a transgender character. And they're going to be shoving that in your face every 5 minutes.
No. Let me understand. Let me make sure I'm being clear. I'm talking within the story. You actually think in the story that the transgender character is going to look at the camera every episode and give a transgender speech?
Why not? It happens in a lot of other shows nowadays.
I mean, because let's be honest, with a lot of entertainment now, that's the only element missing is them turning and looking right at the camera.
Yeah. There's another thing with the medical advances in technology. The medical advances in the 22nd, 23rd century, 24th century, whatever. There shouldn't be any transgender people because if they suffer from that, they would be able to go through gene therapy treatment and actually become the sex that they believe that they should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could. I mean, the technology should be there.
In a few fan fictions, it's been it's been touched upon, but it hasn't been like made part of this whole story. If you know what I mean.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because I've read some of the novels where they'd have a gay character, a member of Starfleet, and the gay character was never. It wasn't the transgender type thing where it wanted to transition from one to another. It was just a man who was into men.
Yeah.
But that part of it was fine, but that story was heavy-handed.
Do you remember Turnabout Intruder?
Yes.
You can't tell me there isn't any part in that storyline where Kirk indulged himself and spent a few hours in the sonic shower.
I shudder to think. because I'm stuck with Shatner's face. Flicking a bean on a female body and it's his own. It's just and just some of the expressions are, God, why did you bring that up? You son of a bitch. God damn it, I'm not going to sleep for a fucking week. I got to deal with Shatner's orgasm face? Fuck me.
Now let me tell you, damn it, Janet, you're just going to see Shatner, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's like, I think in 200 years in the future, which is where they're going to do this, it's in order to push the social agenda, they're not only going to emphasize the diversity of characters, which is going to be cringy and, nauseous.
Not a white man's night.
Instead of having regular diplomatic missions, I think they're going to stress heavily how they cannot hurt the feelings of the people that they are going to negotiate with.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, God, that's an amendment to the Prime Directive, isn't it? Yeah, you can't interfere in the culture's development and you can't hurt their feels.
Right.
Oh, God. You know what they're going to have? They're going to have a Federation-wide Twitter. And it's going to turn out that this isn't the adventures of a starship crew. It's the adventures of a trust and safety council.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I just died a little bit inside.
Well, I mean, if you look at the way, social justice has worked its way into every aspect of media thus far. Not worried about the news. I'm talking about comic books, television shows, the movies.
Yes.
That
Entertainment media.
Now, it's headed that way. And with the trailers and the little leaks that we're getting along the way, nobody's going to want to pay for this.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think not either.
I think CBS All Access is going to be a flop. And Star Trek Discovery is going to be like, the weird cousin that no one talks about anymore.
I can actually see fans flagrantly disregarding Paramount's rules on fan films. Eventually coming together, and if enough fans get together, because there are fans out there with a shit ton of money, let's face it.
Yeah,
it's probably
you can see them coming together and eventually wresting the rights out of Paramount and CBS's hands.
I don't see that happening as soon as I see some of the fan productions and maybe some backers getting together to create a completely original space opera.
Yeah.
Which I think would be a really good idea.
Which is shockingly similar to Star Trek.
No, doesn't even have to be shockingly similar.
I think it would be if it was Star Trek fans, especially the diehards.
Yeah, probably.
Other than that idea.
There would be elements, I think, but I also think that they would be I think they would be more interested in pointing out and being perfectly clear in their actions and the final product. This is not Star Trek.
Yeah, because one thing I liked about especially the original series is there was a true sense of exploration out there, and they tried to confront problems by thinking about it and working it out instead of shooting it with my ray gun.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. See, everyone said, people look at the original series and compare it to everything else, and I don't know what they're remembering, but Kirk did not run immediately for the phaser.
No, that was always the last choice.
Yeah, he tried other stuff, and then when there was no option, damn right he'd shoot.
And usually, even if he was on the bridge during a battle, he always ended up with his shirt ripped and like that bloodline along his chest.
Oh yeah, or on his lip. that you just wipe away and the wound would magically heal.
Yep.
Now see, you can magically heal a wound by wiping away the blood in the 23rd century, but you can't reassign someone's gender? Come on.
Yeah. Or cure baldness, apparently. Picard.
To baldly go.
Well, honestly,
that's what his daughters used to keep saying.
Picard's baldness is indicative of the social evolution that happened, where people just weren't that concerned about it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I think people aren't that concerned about it now. Look at all the people who shaved their head just to be bald.
It's because of the likes of Bruce Willis.
And Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. Bruce Willis also.
You know, bald in some situations is a cool thing to be.
Yep.
Not a bad thing, but some people.
You know, say today, gone tomorrow.
No, that was terrible. That was really bad. Okay, that was. I
got a laugh.
I'm sorry, but you're fucking Batman, and I expect better from Batman.
And like I said, I'm on my day off.
I mean, honestly, Batman was never the funny superhero, but my God.
You know, so on and Western.
Oh yeah, look at what's under the costume. Anyway, Batcock. Anyway, but that's my big concern is that the social agenda is going to be really heavy-handed, and it's going to lack the subtlety that actually makes people think.
Yes.
When something's too heavy-handed, it shuts people off.
It's going to be thinly disguised and incredibly preachy.
Well, I was going to say, this is probably going to be their nail in the coffin if they continue that way.
Yeah.
It's not just for Star Trek.
It's going to be like Steve Shives does space opera.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, look at Doctor Who. There's been that kind of that's been an undercurrent in it for a few years now.
Oh yeah,
and now that they've got a lady doctor, it's a legitimate concern that it's just going to be that it's no longer a science fiction television show; it's a pulpit.
Yeah, I refuse to call a woman a lady unless she has either a patent of nobility or is incredibly polite.
Well, that leaves me out of the running.
And at least they're not going to change the name to like Dr. S. Oh God, I may have given them an idea.
Don't do that.
I think the nail in the coffin for that was when the female version of the Master came out of the TARDIS, and she's supposed to be standing in for Doctor Who, and she's actually calling herself Doctor Who. Yeah, and insisting that that's his name.
Yeah, see that's one that always bothered me too. Back when Peter Cushing played the Doctor in one of the movies.
Yep.
Almost right away, he runs into Bernard Cribbins, in fact, who played Wilf on the contemporary Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
When he was a young man, he was in Doctor Who as in the movie, and he runs into the Doctor. Doctor steps out of the TARDIS, like, "I'm Doctor Who," and I'm like, no.
Yeah, that wasn't Peter Cushing. That was the writer's fault, though.
Oh, I know that wasn't Peter Cushing's fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm worried about that kind of lack of attention to the franchises and the detail therein.
Yeah.
And
because
I'm afraid
because Doctor Who, in essence, is the question that will never be answered.
Yeah.
Ideally, yeah, but no. Now they're going to introduce him as Doctor Who.
That's literally where they got the well, call him the Doctor. Yeah, one of the scriptwriters were Doctor Who. Mm-hmm. That's brilliant. That apparently that's how the discussion went.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because that was a shoestring budget anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the original premise was written down as a grumpy old man in a police box.
Yeah.
We're back to Patrick Stewart again.
That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about these shows becoming a pulpit.
Yeah.
You know, that's my final say on it is, if you want to do social commentary, keep it subtle so people have something to think about instead of slapping them right in the face with this idea, because that's going to shut them off and it's going to just make them say no.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good I think it's good those ideas do get put out there because it is something to think about. And it's good to think about shit.
I think one of the successful times where the in-your-face kind of social commentary worked were the X-Men comic books.
Yeah, and even then, it wasn't it was in your face, but it was subtle as well.
Right. That X-Men was a good mix of the two.
Yeah.
Anyone else got a final thought? We're up to an hour now.
Ooh.
All I can say is what I've been saying is just CBS and Paramount after more money. They're trying to use an established brand name, which they are slowly destroying.
Oh, yeah.
Star Trek Discovery, the search for cash.
Yeah.
Butterfly, final thought?
Well, they think if it makes money, it's going to go, but I don't think so.
Oh, yeah, another thing. Apparently, the scuttlebutt is the top brass at CBS and Paramount have already decided that it's gonna crash and burn.
Well, yes, I've heard that Nicholas Meyer, the director of Star Trek 2 and Star Trek 6, is working on a backup plan.
Yep.
But I don't know anything more than that. He's
going to kill J.J. Abrams, his team of writers, and everybody involved with the Star Trek Discovery and hire an actor. Axanar. That would be good.
That would be interesting. I like Gerbil's final thought. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Gerbil, too late.
How about you, Mad Woman? Final thought before Batman gets his final thought in.
I mean, I'm hoping, even though it's probably going to be a false hope with today's social climate, that they're not going to be heavy-handed with it. However, I'm still not keen on the pay-per-view issue. I shouldn't have to pay for a television show in order to watch it.
Especially one that's been free for so long.
Yeah.
Well, especially at this stage where we've already got things like Amazon Prime and Netflix. Release it there.
Yeah.
You know?
Right, where people are already paying and they already have an established account and they don't have to be iffy about it.
Right. You're not gonna make a successful streaming service with Star Trek Discovery. It's not gonna happen.
In this day and age, I think that Star Trek Discovery is going, especially in this day and age, Star Trek Discovery is going to go straight to video.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And mind you, that's not DVD, that's VHS.
Yeah, right.
No, it's
Betamax.
going to go on film reels.
Betamax.
Yes, it'll be the third Betamax movie in the Betamax movie library.
Yep.
All
right, I think that's going to be it for tonight, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for keeping us entertained in the chat. I want to thank Gerbil, Sir Wolfie, Fenrir of the Right. I'm going to scroll up to get more names in there. Boons, Diz, Sir Wolfie, Diz, fuck. Doesn't anyone else say anything? Matthew Emu, fuckwad. Come on, keep going. There's got to be I know there was someone else. Evil Gunny. Come on, who else is in there? Jesus, Mariel Bell. Hello, peeps. Scrolling. Mitch, no, fuck that guy.
Scrolling.
Oh, I'm almost at the top. Trek Silent. Teddy, Ericor. I did say Matthew Emu.
Okay.
Keep going. Boons is everywhere. Let me tell you about Boons. Boons is the spirit of the internet.
Boons? Who's Boons? Your Boons?
No, leave my Boons out of this. Boons shows up every time, well, with few exceptions, almost every time Citation Needed plays on Friday night at 9 p.m. on Fenrir of the Right's channel.
Eastern
Oh, sorry, I went into advertiser mode there. I was shilling. Sorry about that. But thanks everyone for joining us. What?
Hold on. Did you just say you wanted to advertise the Emoji Movie?
No. Kiss. You can tongue kiss my butt pucker, fella. Okay, finally, I would like to thank everyone for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful night, and we'll catch you next time.
Unless you see us
Bye.
first. Bye.
Bye.